To the jury pool camera, we believe we're going to hear from them right now. Let's go take that live now.
He was there. You said you were shocked. I mean, was that an important moment for you? Was it an important admission? Did that affect your decision making?
More corroboration, I would think.
Yeah, and everyone definitely discussed it. I mean, that was a definite discussion.
Was there any
point when
yelling?
we got
Anybody get really angry at each other?
we can't talk about that.
Did that picture of Aaron coming from the basement, did that thing in his hand look like a gun to you?
At which time?
Which one What video?
Came up, the one they argued about the most, it looked like the butt of the handle was hanging out, not the part that looked like the iPad, but where he was standing.
At the basement door?
Yeah, the basement, by the basement door, coming out the basement door. I mean, you know.
That wasn't a part of our decision, though. That wasn't.
Well, I was
that
wondering
wasn't.
if it looked like it to you. Everybody's got an opinion on what it looked like to them. Did it look like a gun to you?
I would say yes.
But that didn't factor into your decision? Yeah, it didn't matter?
No, we couldn't take that into consideration as far as what the verdict was.
Bradley's testimony.
It was interesting.
You have to take it for the person.
Aaron of shooting him in the face?
We
found
found
out
out
after.
We just found that out.
We just found that out.
And again, when you found out these things, the double murder and Alexander Bradley, I guess, what is your reaction after going through all of this? Then you hear all of that.
That we
did the right thing.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you wish you had known
That we did the right thing.
Absolutely.
Are you aware of the text message that Odin and his sister exchanged? You aware of the contents of that text?
We found out today.
Today.
How will you factor this experience of the last couple of months with the rest of your life? I mean, will it be something that will define you, do you think?
I think we'll all remember it for the rest of our lives. It'll definitely be a part of us.
never want to do it
100%.
again.
Yeah. If we could get taken off the list, I think everyone would like to.
Yeah.
Are you paying attention to the Boston trials?
Not too much, I haven't watched the
We've been
news.
I was
having
gonna say, that's what we're looking forward to, is catching up on current
Heading
events.
forward?
What's going to happen in the next 3 or 4 months? You're going to be paying attention to what happens in that trial.
Probably.
Yeah.
This has definitely made us think
Did I
about.
understand you right when I asked, do you wish you had known that about Alexander Bradley being shot and maybe the Boston murder as well? I think you said absolutely.
Well, we understand why we couldn't know that.
She told us why we
Right.
couldn't. But had it been presented to us in the beginning, yeah, it would have, just like any of the
Why
other.
would you want to know that?
Why wouldn't we?
You said the judge told you all this new information?
Today.
Yeah. Forgive me if this has been asked. Would it have made a difference to you had he taken the witness stand?
Depends on what he had to say.
Right.
Were you hoping he might?
I don't think we ever expected him to be honest.
Yeah. Guys, was
He
it?
was the trigger man?
I'm not going to answer that.
Yeah.
Seems like yeah.
Was it hard? I mean, what do you make of the fact that there's no murder weapon to be found? There was no really hard to find motive, and no eyewitness saying that he did it. Did that make it hard? Is that something that went through your minds, or what are your thoughts about that?
Just reviewing all the evidence.
Yeah.
We went through everything step by step, and
The evidence just outweighed all that.
Can you talk about some of the more compelling witnesses or evidence you heard that was really decisive to you as you listened to it?
Can you give me an example of one or two things, not everything?
Well, maybe the 22 that was found being linked with the same serial number from the one down in Florida. I think that to us, because when it was first introduced, we were like, we didn't know how that was going to tie in, right?
It was relevant.
The one that was tossed into the...
Right, in the woods, and then after that, when we seen the serial numbers matching, that was a shocker for us. Yeah.
And the lack of a murder weapon? How did that play with you?
Well, it's the law, going by the law, we didn't need the murder weapon, so.
Do you think it went out in that trash bin?
But you charged him for you convicted him for unlawful possession of the murder weapon. So can you talk a little bit about why you were willing to do that without actual physical evidence?
Unlawful possession of a firearm, not the murder weapon.
45.
Right, yeah.
That's what made us.
just a 45, that's all we had to say.
Can you say what you thought of the video of Cheyenne taking out the bag that was as large as her out of the house?
You think the gun was in it?
Did that
We couldn't speculate, and we certainly couldn't let
Yeah,
speculation be
we're not
part of
here
the
to
decision.
speculate.
I know this is not specific about what you discussed, but did you start with the weapons, and as you went through the case, did you start with ammo, weapons, and then get to?
Again, we're not here to discuss what happened in the jury room.
What did you think of Shania Jenkins' testimony?
Emotional. Yeah. You could see she cared about him.
Yeah.
Pardon?
You could see that she cared about Odin.
Did any of you hold back tears at any time in the past couple of months?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Because on the jury, it was very hard to read your emotions. You were very straight-faced. Was that hard to do? Just keep...
Out of respect for all parties,
Yeah.
it's something that had to be done.
Guys, there was a juror that left under some controversial circumstances. Can you give us, sort of enlighten us of what happened there? Perhaps she had expressed a view previously. Can any of you tell us what happened there? We know that
You know more than we do.
Yeah, we had never heard.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Do you have any lingering questions about the events that unfolded? And you wonder why he got in the car that night with them, decided to take that ride?
The questions that we can answer, for our peace of mind, we have, and the questions that we can't, and you move forward.
Can you say why extreme cruelty or atrocity? Why did you decide that?
The shots. There were 6 of them.
I think that
That's extreme.
I think that each of us may have had different opinions as to why we reached that conclusion. There were 7 different sectors or bullet points, that comprised the extreme atrocity or cruelty, and I think some of us got there for different reasons, but still reached ultimately the same conclusion.
Were there tears in the jury room?
Yes.
Yes.
Men and the women?
Did that indicate there wasn't premeditation versus the cruel and the atrocity?
I don't think that it indicates that there wasn't premeditation. I just think that we couldn't unanimously conclude that there was evidence of premeditation. However, we all agreed that there was evidence of the extreme atrocity or cruelty.
With this being such a big trial, many think that there's money to gain from being on the jury pool. What happens next? Any book deals, television, or are you guys
To be honest with you, none of us even wanted to come into this room. So I don't foresee that for any of us.
What kind of strain did this put on your lives these last 2.5 months being here, like 8 hours a day and not going to your regular jobs?
It was our duty to do it. I mean, whether we're serving our company or our country, it was our responsibility to give it 100%. And everyone in here, came in here, and although we all have our personal lives and responsibilities and distractions, I think everyone focused 100% on this case from the moment we walked through the doors to the moment we left.
During the voir dire, either during the case or when you were being chosen as jurors, was it awkward to you to have Hernandez standing right there over you, especially toward the end of the trial if the judge had to bring you in to speak to you? What sort of, one of you is nodding? Is that awkward?
Well, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable.
Absolutely.
It was uncomfortable for everybody to be standing around us.
Yes.
It's like,
What was your impression of Hernandez during the trial when you would sneak peeks at him?
I can speak for myself. I tried not to form any opinion because, again, I think that would just be speculation. We haven't heard the fact yet. We didn't really know exactly what happened. I tried not to gauge his facial expressions or gestures in any way.
You all seem at this point just very sure about your decision. Was there a point during this trial where you were almost as sure the other way, that perhaps he did not do it?
You try not to form an opinion until
assume
you've seen the evidence.
We follow the court's orders. Assume that the man sitting in that seat is innocent until the prosecution proves he's guilty. And that's what happened today.
Did any of you know who Robert Kraft was before he came in, and what was the impact of his testimony when you saw him in the chair?
Yeah, I knew who he was.
I didn't know.
I had no idea.
But from our point of view, that was some of the most compelling testimony. Would you guys agree? Mr. Kraft?
I agree that it was compelling.
Yeah. And we all felt bad because we thought he was sick.
Yeah.
He had a cold. He had a cold.
Yeah.
He felt bad for him.
It's difficult to say what witness was more compelling and what witness isn't. There was hundreds of them, 130 if you want to get down to it.
Did you guys take a poll when you first went? You start deliberations. Did you take a poll right away, or Do you, I know you don't want to go into deliberations, but do you take a poll right off the bat?
We're not going to talk about what happened.
I try.
Going back to Kraft, in what way was his testimony compelling for those of you who thought it was?
One part for me was Aaron's alleged statement that he wished at the time that Odin was murdered was made public because he was at a club at that time. To this day, we just went through a 3-month trial, and this is now a year and a half or 2 years later. We still don't know the exact time of Odin's murder, specifically, so I don't know how Aaron would have had that information 2 years ago, if even today, after medical examiner's review, still don't have that exact information. So for me, that's...
Do you all feel you can sleep peacefully?
No, I'm hoping.
We don't have any
After
reporters.
beverage.
Without going into detail, was it difficult to keep track of all the evidence and all the witnesses who testified and sorting out what's important, what's not? I mean, what's less important, I mean, you know,
I think everything we heard in that room was important, and that's why some of us had 4 up to 8 notebooks, you know, making sure we got all the information so we can factor all of it. So I think it was all, at the time, equally important.
How hard was it to follow the phone records? It was tough for me.
It was difficult.
It was difficult.
Would you be willing to identify yourselves now? That we will have a list
Or
later today.
can the ones who
The ones who
spoke,
anybody who might wanna
the ones
say
who
who they
spoke,
were,
just say
who
and
they
spell
are.
your name, so,
And if you don't?
you know, if you wouldn't mind, the ones who spoke.
It's up to you.
Lady in blue.
They already have.
You're number 4, right?
You were all very
Or number 3.
I'm an alternate, and my name is April Blanchard.
Pardon me?
April Blanchard.
Blanchard like the store?
Yes.
C-H-A-R-D?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm an alternate.
Okay. And where are you, where are you from? Or?
I am originally from Taunton.
Was it devastating to be called as an alternate? Was it frustrating?
Yes, absolutely. Because I had put in just as much time as everybody else here, and I had no play in any of my opinions that I had, so it was very difficult.
And you still couldn't talk about it either, right?
Correct. It was very difficult. And I was there in a room while they were also doing their part, and I thank each and every one of them because they made the right decision.
This is live.
We're all done. Thank you, guys.
Okay, does anybody else who spoke, if you want, say your name and spell it so you know who you are.